Hello GSV peeps, Dangly Bob here, welcome back to Kerbal Space Program. Slight crackling in my ears then, but yes, so you can see we are needing to put a space station up, an unmanned space station, so we're leaving the Kerbals behind with their snacks for the minute as we lift off in order to in order to alleviate the tedium of getting into orbit. Let's speed it up to 4 times and get ourselves into orbit fairly easily. I did not make this rocket, this is the one they give you for the mission. You can see it's got some large solar panels, a bit of RCCS there, ditching off those first boosters quite easily at about 10,000 metres there. It's actually reasonably powerful and fairly easy to fly. In fact, it just seems to want to get up to height fairly quickly. It doesn't want to necessarily follow the gravity turn reasonably quickly, so I'm having to turn it round. And little orbit details. Well, actually I was aiming for an orbit of about sort of 80 to 100,000, failing that. So being told we've got to put it into an orbit of 80,000 isn't too much of a problem, except I just need to flatten out the orbit and get some horizontal speed up fairly quick. But we should be able to get the apoapsis up to 80,000. Seem to be increasing speed, but not actually gaining any height. But there we go, pushing the apoapsis out, time's increasing, so that's all well and good as well. Climbing still, coasting up, getting rid of that, sorry, not coasting, getting rid of that stage there, up to a point where we do want to coast. There we are, 80,000 metres and a little bit, and 60,000, so we're about 8,000 metres away from space. Got a little poodle engine there, poodle engine, whatever, and lots of fuel in that. About 1,700 dV, absolutely no problem at all, easy to get into orbit with that. Not the most powerful engine, so it'll take a little bit of time. As you can see, we've pretty much put our apoapsis straight on there, so we can stretch our orbit out a little bit more, and that should sit there. Once I get up to 80,000, should be fairly easy. We're looking at about a 30-second burn, so that's not too bad at all. So she'll get on and do that. And as we get to the node there, because I decided to sit there, probably would just bit off and had a cup of coffee actually while that was doing. We then accelerate away, as you can see the orbit disappearing out, periapsis on the other side. We'll slow it down and just nudge out with a couple of little ticks. Well, okay, another quake blast, but then a couple of little ticks just to get it out to the sort of 80,000. Just tickling up. Periapsis is 74, 75 as it comes out, and that is apparently Soyuz 10. Absolutely Soyuz. I've just clicked that. So now we move back to our original, or the second one. Now this is the Kerbals, checking the Kerbals are on board. They should be for this one, because this is one they've got themselves. Obviously we've gone for a Soyuz type capsule. And just before we launch, just make sure we fast forward in time so the station's just behind us. And we're going to, we're going to play this back at 400 times because, you know, it's just an orbital insertion. Again, this seems to be a little bit on the slightly more twitchy side, but plenty powerful. In fact, we're just going to ditch those engines in a minute anyway, which will push the centre of gravity. Should push the centre of gravity forward. Yeah, it should do. Should make it a little bit more stable. But as we come on down, just going to tickle it slightly. I'm not going to be quite so vicious with this. And the pop-up there says we need to go back. I've just slowed the film down a little just so I'll read that, and yeah, we need to go back because we need to replace Bob the scientist with Bill, probably the engineer. I'm not too sure how this is going to work, so I said we'll just point it backwards. I say I'm not sure because this is, you know, after commentary, so I know exactly how this works. But I thought I'll just burn retrograde. That'll point us in the other direction. It'll slow down our ascent, and hopefully I can, you know, reverse the arc as such. And it sort of has the right effect-ish. You know, look down through here, you can see I've sort of stopped our apoapsis gliding, reduced it quite a bit, so that apoapsis now coming the other way. Almost want to burn again, still burning retrograde, burning straight up, just to stop it. And then perhaps if I can tilt it slightly the other way, just flick it over to, you know, SAS stability, flick it towards the station or towards the landing site, and so, you know, just try and. It seems to be having the right effect when you're looking at the map there. So knowing this could be a little bit on the long-winded side, speed time up again. Ditch that. I think we said it was the second stage, and this is the third stage now. I've got some RCCS on this, but I'm not sure, you know, blasting RCCS at this works. But I seem to be heading the right direction now. In fact, if anything, yeah, I've overcooked it. So we need to sort of perhaps burn retrograde and do the repeat as what we did do and slow it back down again. But no, instead I don't burn retrograde. I just try and do it by hand and try and just sort of tweak it around, point it around using the SS. Oh, I do burn retrograde. There we go. That sort of really has a really quite nice effect. And as it swaps around, I should be perhaps going back, but no, for some reason, because I'm burning retrograde, we end up just extending the arc out the same way, which I don't think I spotted when I played this the first time round. Otherwise I stopped burning before now. That's right, stopped burning, like I said. Right, realise I'm still, you know, going the wrong way. But so we burn retrograde and running rapidly out of fuel here. But as it swaps around, that's probably about as close as I'm going to get it with what little fuel I've got. That is the fuel out, so I'm going to ditch that last stage. Then I can't remember whether I try the RCCS. No, I don't. I just ditch the last stage and just float down. Actually, I think with the looks of it, I remember looking at that and thinking it's 90 kilometres. So if the radius is 90 kilometres, and we click on there, and you can see actually going to be just about in it, so it should be fine. He says should be fine. Having said that, I'm 7,000 metres up, and as you can see, as I hit the ground, the problem about a Soyuz capsule is it's round. So the poor guy's, well, Bob. Is that Bob? That's Bob. He's looking a little dizzy and a little bit worried, but the others. Jebediah there, he's loving it to bits. And as it comes to a rest there, we do a Weeble impression, for those of you who remember what Weebles are. If not, Google it. Little toys like this. Not too sure why it won't stop, but at least it's not rolling anywhere. Probably the sick bags are well and truly full. So in an effort to, yeah, poor old Bob just wants to get out, sits there riding like a rodeo for a bit, but in an effort to stop it rolling, and obviously Jebediah pulls rank, and actually he quite likes the rolling. He gets Bob to hop out outside and try and push it to stop it rolling. Go on, stop it rolling. I did think about using RCCS, but actually just stop it rolling, actually just use his head, and there we go. We seem to have landed in a point that it allows us to pop up the next pop-up. So, A New Hope. Star Wars reference, check. So we are back on the landing pad, and again, 4 times speed, not 400 times speed, you'd never watch it at that. 4 times speed, and we have got Lodro Kerbin, who's looking a little bit nervous in the back. Oh, and we flipped again. Pushed it too far, and let's ditch those boosters, and remarkably it's doing these somersaults, but we're still reasonably well on course. If I don't push it too far, we should stay. Am I going to recover it? Oh, I am, sort of. We're at sort of 45 degrees and about 15,000. That's... oh, but we're dropping rapidly down. I need to hold it up. And that's messed it up, and I don't know whether I'm going to recover back from that or not. So that'll be a revert flight then. So once again we rearrange our orbits for a nice rendezvous, and this time I've messed up the time warp, so we're leaving a little bit later. and drop those boosters. Again, doing this at 400 times speed with a bit of post-event commentary. And things were going a little bit smoother this time, so at about sort of 20,000 we're about 45 degrees, which is a little bit later than what I'd normally be, but I'm not going to push this. I'd much rather go steeper and then flatten out once we're out of outer space. It's the Milky, I don't know, is it a Milky Way in Kerbin? Oh, I don't know. Anyway, as it appears, ditch that last level. We're on to the last stage now. And you can see I've sort of messed this one up a little. It's not quite as accurate as perhaps the previous attempts, but we're there. And I'm sort of toying with the idea of going a little bit over this time. And letting, actually, what I've done here is I've left too late. And if I make my if I make my orbit, just try to equalise my orbit, get the right inclination here. But if I come for a larger orbit, I'll be slowing down even more. I need to make a sort of come in on the inside. A little difficult to do now. I've got my apoapsis out greater than 80 already. So yeah, I need to at least circulise the orbit first, and then we'll worry about whether or not I've reduced the orbit down to catch up with the Sawyer ooze, or whether I just sit out on a greater orbit and let Sawyer ooze catch up with me. Actually, it's not Sawyer ooze, it's Sally Hut. That's what the space station's called. Anyway, well, I realise I'm missing a trick here in that I've got fuel, I've got thrusters on the Sally Hut, so why don't I put the Sally Hut out to a bigger orbit and would do it in a reverse way, sort of, you know, rather than, yeah. And that's what I ended up doing. So we end up pushing Sally Hut out to a wider orbit, then swinging back in and doing a rendezvous with the Sawyer ooze and the crew rather than the other way around. And once I've got them close enough, a little pop-up says, right, that's it, all you've got to do now is dock. And so I'm close enough now, I've just got to arrange to meet the right speed and do that sort of thing where you point to each other, burn, equalise speed, point to each other, burn, equalise speed, point, and so on until you actually sort of get close enough to actually do something. And it's when you take a closer look at this thing, which I'm just about to put the solar panels out, so as we come around to pick up the sun, there we go, close enough now that actually it's saying can you EVA, but actually at this sort of distance I'd rather EVA from about 200 metres, not a kilometre and a half, but that's what it wants me to do. It wants me to go over and EVA so I can fix the docking port, but yeah, it's still controlling Sally Hut here, and there's another cowling there which I sort of clocked it hadn't got any docking ports on it. I'm wondering where on earth they were going to fix, but you know, there we go. I haven't got a lot of fuel on here, but from a kilometre and a half I'm not going to be burning a huge amount of fuel, providing it doesn't want me to do something silly with the engine once we get closer. That should be fine, and I'm going to use mainly the RCCS once we're within sort of a few hundred metres anyway. So just burning prograde, actually retrograde rather, just to slow my speeds down. There we are, spot on 0. Oh, gone up a little, never mind. And from here, just checking here to see what it actually wants me to do. And yep, old Ludrow, who looks a lot happier now, get him out on an EVA. Thunder him across to the other spaceship. And once he's over there, I'm assuming all I've got to do, because we're not actually using the Kerbal inventory system or attachment system on this, so I think all I have to do is actually get in and they'll assume that he has actually fixed something. A funny little effect there. I don't know why it suddenly decided to turn itself around as I got closer. I mean, I thought the effect of keeping sort of nodes pointed to each other should have an effect, so perhaps that's a bit of a graphical glitch or something, I don't know. Perhaps the models are just sort of taking over to each other as it renders, it then points itself around in the way it's supposed to do. Who knows? Anyway, lots of fuel left in this thing. I'm assuming at some point I could have ditched that last stage because it did have a an attachment point there. And there we go. So I've fixed the docking port, which we can't find at the moment. But at this point here I realise, yeah, the docking port is probably underneath that cowling. So trying, there it is, see, I can see it. But how do I get to it? Well, I don't know. There isn't a stage for a fairing, but actually there is. I think I perhaps could have staged it, but I decided to do it manually. And bang, there's a choice of 4 docking ports. And as I said, I could change to, oh, is that a docking port? I don't know if that's a docking port on the bottom there as well, but I decided to go for the middle one. There's a couple here I can attach to without having to bash into the solar panels. I could always wind the solar panels in, dock, and then wind the solar panels back out again, but that'd just be sensible, wouldn't it? So now we come to a relatively easy bit, except I haven't quite clocked at this point here that the docking ports normally I'd put on the front of a vessel to be so much easier to put, but it's on the side of a vessel. So we burn towards the target at the last minute, cut our speed. That was quite a snazzy move there. Go control here from the docking port, and realise I just need to jet towards, well, I use the RCCS. What I've done here is forgotten to switch the RCCS on and not realised that I haven't got any transitional movement. But and actually the thing's really well designed because with as much fuel as I got or as little fuel as I got, those RCCSs are right on the centre of mass. They've only got the one set, and they do need to be right in the centre of mass, otherwise you end up getting a spin on it. But anyway, at this point here I'm thinking, well, how do I get anywhere close? How do I dock? Because I don't seem to have any longitudinal RCS, but I have, because I just haven't turned them on. So there we go. I now turn them on and realise, right, yes, no, I can. I've got full stability either way. Turn myself around 90 degrees so it make an interesting shape when we dock, and speed the next few minutes up to 10 times speed, because docking is very, very slow, even if I use a little bit of time warp myself. But as we come closer and closer, just not using the docking mod, as you can see, just using the nav board, just getting that prograde marker to sit right on top, as close as I can to that little target, which I've obviously targeted the port itself, and everything's keeping itself all very straight and civilised. And we just slow it down for the last docking couple of feet. The magic of the magnetic docking ports takes over, and that's it, settle in. So, deploying the solar panels, except I've already deployed them for them, but I could eject a few bits we don't need, but why do I need to? Quick screenshot, and there's the mission. Finished thing. A bronze award and a silver award. Well, this is going to be a remarkably short episode. So, well, thank you very much for joining me, and if you've liked the episode, please hit the like button, subscribe if you see some more, and let me know what your comments below. I'll see you all in the next one.